Okay, we are recording. Welcome to what a beautiful class we've got today with Cain, a diamond leader in Doterra. She's so knowledgeable, and she's going to be talking about emotions and essential oils. So how we can use essential oils, plant magic for supporting us through life, the ups and downs of life. So we really hope you enjoyed today's presentation. Caroline has so much knowledge and wisdom, and I'm really excited for you to learn from her today. So what about any questions, Caroline? Should we encourage people to write in the chat box if they have any questions along the way? How do you want to do it?
Yeah, good idea. And then you can monitor that and answer the ones that you can. And then if there's anything that I need to personally answer at the end, then we can go through that at the end. Does that sound okay? Perfect.
That sounds great.
Cool.
Okay.
Cool. Okay. Shall I start?
Yeah. Oh, do you want to ask everyone to mute themselves as well, just so that we can have clear, like, here, because we've got obviously family life and work life going on. So if everyone could just mute themselves, that'd be amazing.
I've got that in the background.
We'll talk later.
You're perfect. And so for those of you who don't know me, first of all, thank you very much, Charlotte. This is one of my favorite topics to talk about because it's so important and it literally affects everything, which you will find out about in a moment. And for those of you who don't know me, my background or training is in naturopathic nutritionist. Nutritionist with naturopathic techniques and things like that, sort of put in with, bundled in with that. And also I'm a trained eating psychology coach, but my full-time work is with Doterra, okay? Because I've been into natural living, you know, natural health and things like this for so many years, but I've never found anything that is as easy and effective and safe for literally anybody to use. You know, we use a lot of homeopathic medicine, which I absolutely love. It's just much more complicated. There's so many more variables. With the oils, you really, if you just use them safely, you can't go wrong, and they're safe for the entire family. And they work. They are just so incredibly effective. So this is now what I do full time because I really want to empower people to be able to do it themselves at home. Not just because, then I can do it myself. No, it's a bit because once we do that, and once we have the confidence, it means we get to know ourselves better and we listen to ourselves better and we're way more connected. And obviously that's then leads to all sorts of other positive things. Now I have to, I think, change the view just so I can go to the next slide. Sorry, it doesn't look as pretty, but it's the only way I can do it. It doesn't work on my computer otherwise. So the goal of this class is really to, as I said, to empower you. And I'm going to teach you 3 interesting things or cool things about essential oils, 3 ways to use them, and about how you can obviously use them for emotional benefit. That's Mom walking in the background. I don't know if you can see her. And then how to get the oils into your home. So first of all, the 3 important things or interesting things to know about essential oils. The first one is that they are completely safe and natural. They're 100% safe and natural. They have no side effects, no addictions, nothing is added to them, nothing is taken away from them, okay? It's just pure extracts from plants. So the petals, the bark of trees, roots, leaves, the rind of citrus fruits, okay? And so basically these essential oils, if you imagine a peppermint leaf, if you looked at it really close up under a microscope, you'd see little sacs of oil, and that's what it is. When you walk past a rose bush, the smell that comes off, that is the essential oils, okay? And that has a purpose for the plant. It helps to attract the birds and the bees, and it helps to detract, you know, bacteria, viruses, bugs, whatever else, they survive, okay? So I always say thank you very much to the plant for giving us these little bottles of magic there, with basically what keeps them alive. Now, what I find really interesting is that 1 drop of, I'll go back in a sec. So basically, oils are 50 to 70 times more powerful than herbs. So 1 drop of peppermint oil, for example, and I don't have it here because we're traveling. They're at the other house. I've only got this one. So Charlotte will demonstrate. 1 drop of peppermint oil is like 28 cups of peppermint tea. That's a lot of peppermint tea. So Charlotte, if you just take the top off and put your hand where everyone can see you. Yeah, 1 drop in. And then just put your thumb in it. You guys all watch Charlotte's face closely. And put it up to the roof of your mouth. Putting you on the spot now.
I did this yesterday for the first time. Can you believe? I've never actually done this.
I'm glad you tried it first.
Oh my goodness, here we go.
You should have waited till today and done it live. So just, you don't even need to leave it there. You can literally just brush it along and then go like this with your hands. And then just take deep breaths. Now, all of you, I don't have it in here, but I'm just imagining, like all of you can imagine, peppermint is so energizing. It's so uplifting. It's amazing for focus, right? It also helps to cool your body down if you have raised body temperature. But if you imagine that freshness, that, the freshness that is the smell of peppermint, you can imagine it's really uplifting. So when we're talking about emotions, it's going to be really energizing. It's going to give you energy. It's going to give you want to go out and do things. And it also, how are you feeling?
Fresh.
Charlotte, you okay?
Fresh.
Fresh.
Powerful.
Really fresh.
Yeah.
Actually, who did I give that to for the first time? Actually, my husband, my boyfriend, took it for the first time yesterday. I gave him peppermint beadlet. And he was like, whoa, okay. Now I'm wide awake. It's quite surprising. And so you can imagine also if you have low moods, okay, like really severely low moods, this is going to lift you up. There is no other way it's going to lift you up because it's going to give you that energizing feeling. So that's the first one. They're completely safe, okay? There's just 2 rules. You always want to remember that you only use 1 drop at a time because they're so strong. If you have something really strong going on, don't say, okay, I'm going to use 10 drops because then it'll work 10 times quicker and better. No, it won't. You just use 1 drop, but you use more regularly, like every 10 minutes if you need to, or 20 minutes or 2 hours or something like that. The second rule is that, actually there are 3. Never put citrus oils on your skin and go out sunbathing. So you need to be checking all the blends. Otherwise you will burn, just like if you had lemon on your hands or something like that. And the third rule is that you always want to, when you're applying it to your skin, dilute it with a carrier oil. So we like to use fractionated coconut oil from doTERRA because it's liquid all year round, it's non-greasy, and it basically just locks it into the skin and helps you be unsensitized. Actually, Charlotte, I wonder if you can mute everyone from the master screen, just in case more people join as we go along. Yeah, cool. And then the second interesting thing, so the first one is that they are completely safe. The second one is that they are effective, okay? Now, they work. You don't want something that doesn't work. You know, a lot of the time, people have been using essential oils for a long time and say, well, it doesn't really do anything. I'll put my hand up, and I've been using essential oils for over 20 years, and I always knew I liked them. I knew I liked the smell, and I missed it when I didn't have them, but I never noticed dramatic changes, okay? I knew it affected me to a little, like, to that extent that I was interested in them. Whereas with these, they are very different. And one of the reasons is because they are sourced where they naturally grow in the world. Okay, now I know people want to buy local, but when you're talking about something like essential oils, you know, to use them as, natural remedies, you want to make sure that they work and that they are effective. Okay, you want to get the best. So we have to pick and choose. And these are gathered from where they naturally grow in the world, which means the plant has the ideal environment. Okay, so it has all of the different compounds in it. Whereas if you grew it somewhere else, it might only have half the amount of, the variety of compounds or that kind of thing. And this is what makes it extremely potent and effective. And the fact that I said it's completely pure, there's nothing added to it. It's not thinned out or anything like that. Okay, like literally 80% of the oils on the market are. Now, if you look at this picture here, there's a picture of a cell. Now, if you go back to Biology 101, imagine a cell. It has a oil membrane, okay, to keep everything out that's harmful for the cell and all the healthy stuff in. Now, when you have a bacterial infection, the bacteria live here outside the cell, and you go to the doctor and he gives you antibiotics, right? When you have a viral infection, the virus is inside the cell, okay? If you go to the doctor, he says, just go home, lie in bed, drink some tea. Why? Because modern medication is water-based, most of it, so it cannot actually penetrate into the cell. These oils can. One, because they're oil-based, but again, because they are so pure, the particles are small enough that they can just go into the center of the cell and permeate without doing any work. You know, if it was synthetic, the particles are bigger and that kind of thing. So one of the ones, obvious ones that we use for this can be, for example, On Guard. If you imagine it's on your guard, because it helps to protect your body. It's the immune system blend, okay? But this is an emotions class, so I'm not going to talk about that. I'm going to talk about the emotional side. If you imagine, it's called On Your Guard. It's protecting your immune system, your physical self, but it's also protecting your personal self. So your personal energies, your personal space. This is a fantastic one to use For example, we came here by plane. We always use it. We always put it on kids, yes, to protect our immune system, but also to protect our personal space when we're going to be in an area where there's lots of other people and lots of other energies. If you are someone who is highly sensitive, for example, or an empath or anything like this, you will benefit from using it to help, like, create a little bubble of safety around yourself. So anyway, even if you're going to the supermarket at the moment, you've got all sorts of different thoughts going on, and because of the experiences and everything's different and everything's changing all the time, then you can still put this on as well to help give you that feeling of safety. Okay. And then the third, so first interesting thing about oils, they're safe. Second is they're effective. And the third one is that they are affordable. Okay. Now, this depends, of course, which country you live in. For example, in Denmark, where I live, medical care is free and it's good. You don't have to wait forever. I know it's different in different countries. And then in other countries like Eastern Europe or America, people have to pay for their medical care a lot of the time. But still, even which, let's say Denmark is the country we choose, if you go to the doctor and you need something like, your kid has ear discomfort, I'm being compliant here. Kids get, discomfort in their ears sometimes, normally at night, you would still need to go and get antibiotics, okay, or painkillers for something. Or if you have a skin issue, you're going to need to go and get a special cream to put on it. All of these things cost at least, let's say in pounds, it's going to be like, or in euros, 5 to 10 euros, 5 to 10 pounds. Also, you need to either get the bus to go there or the car. Okay, the oils, if you're using 1 drop at a time, it's literally pennies. It's less than £1. It's literally pennies. Like, I don't know, in the US, it's like 1 penny or something like that, 2-3 pennies per drop. Okay, and in Denmark, people say to me, but we cycle everywhere here. Yes, we do. So what I say is, imagine the time of, first of all, phoning up the doctor, having to get an appointment, going to the doctor, then he tells you what you need. Then you have to go to the pharmacy, okay? All this also takes time, whereas you could just literally be reaching for something you have at home. Not all the time, obviously. When you need to go to the doctor, you go to the doctor, right? Yes, and they last for a long time. So as long as you don't leave them on a windowsill, in the sun or something, they're going to last you a long time. And so here, one of the examples is given is lavender, which we all know. So lavender is known to be relaxing for the mind. Okay, one of the compounds in it is linalool, which relaxes the nervous system. Okay, so, and I'm going to talk about that and how it works in a little bit. It's also a natural antihistamine, by the way. So if any of you need any of that, right now, ask whoever your contact is. They can tell you more about that. So lavender for all things calming, like Charlotte is demonstrating with her oil. Now, why do we use essential oils to manage mood? Okay. Now, your mood, your emotional state affects literally every single one of your choices and behavior. Your food choices, your movement choices, your lifestyle choices, your work choices, your friendship choices, literally every single little thing, okay? And when we use essential oils, we can then become less reactive to it and more responsive. And I'll explain why right now, because this is where I completely geek out on this kind of stuff. Is that 95% of our thoughts are subconscious. It's learned response from childhood, okay? What we've learned from our families, our culture, our schools, our peers, all of that. Now, when you are in this subconscious reactive response, you're basically going through the same cycle every single time. You're not even aware of it. Well, you might be aware of some of them. Most of the time, you're unaware of them, okay? So what we're going to do is we're going to use the essential oils to actually break that response, which I'll explain in a minute. And they work fast, okay? You can literally smell it and they can change something within seconds, okay? Until you've tried them, it can be hard to believe, but it literally can be within seconds, especially if you are having a very strong emotion. And so the reason it works like this to help break that cycle that you can get in is because it's an external, you're looking for something outside of your own brain. The fact, first of all, that you reach for it already creates a break in the cycle, the stress cycle, because your brain's like, whoa, okay, hang on. You've actually just told yourself consciously or subconsciously that you're feeling a certain thing. You're reaching for an oil because consciously or subconsciously, either or, you know that it helps you. So already that's broken the circuit a little bit, okay? And then once you actually smell it, so first of all, you reach for it. I'm going to use, I can't do this without one of my little bottles. Hang on. Which one should I take? Here we go. See, this is how good they are. I never leave home without them. They're always in my handbag in these little keychains here. You never want to leave home without them. So, okay, the fact that I've thought, okay, if I'm stressed, I'm like, oh, okay, and I just reach for an oil because it's there. It's simple, it's easy. You can pop them in your handbag. They are just always at, the reach of your hand. Then you take the top off, you smell it. This is going to be the second thing to break the cycle, okay? Because you're actually getting, let me just jump ahead and show you a picture here. This is a cell, okay, with cell receptors on it. Now, if you can imagine, the yellow is the essential oils and the gray bits are your emotions. Now, both emotions and essential oils are information carrying molecules that basically bind to this cell receptor, get into the cell, and then tell that cell what to do, okay? It directs that cell. Now, this is important because both of them are getting messages. So first of all, your stress response is giving your body a message what to do. And then the oil comes in and can bypass that. The monkey brain, you're normally in, and the stress response, which can be hard. Normally you have to go and meditate in the moment or bring a friend or go and walk in nature. Everyone knows that when you're, in a moment, it's not what you do normally. So you can just smell the oil. And that chemical, whichever one you're smelling, let's say it's lavender that we spoke about a moment ago, that sends a message to your brain, you're safe, you're okay, you can relax. You can turn the sympathetic nervous system off and switch on the parasympathetic nervous system. So the sympathetic is the stress, the fight or flight, and the parasympathetic is the rest and digest. So you don't even have to literally do the work to help calm you down. And it doesn't mean that it bypasses you doing the work, okay? It allows you to create that space so that you can then make a different decision and go in a different direction. And so really it's such a simple way, like I said, to manage your emotions anywhere, anytime, because you whether it's this tiny bottle or whether it's one of the bigger bottles, you can just fit those in your handbag. And this is going to sound a little bit funny, but they look nice. Where is it? They look nice. When something looks nice and it feels nice and then it smells nice, you're going to use it. That's just what we do as human beings. We are made to follow what is pleasurable, okay? And then your body, when you do something that is pleasurable, your body rewards you, your brain rewards you and says, yeah, hey, do that again. So then it's so easy with these oils to create a habit, a good habit, because it's something that everybody loves doing. People don't go, oh my God, no, I hate these, I'm not going to use these. And yeah, okay, people might have different opinions on smells, but it's something that is easy and nice to use. And so this is really, what I like to call intelligent energy management for optimal performance, because it's self-regulation. It's not something that we are often taught, or even if we are, it's something that's very difficult to do. And this is basically a tool on the way. Don't worry, you're not going to become suddenly an enlightened Zen master. It doesn't work like that. You're still going to be doing the work. You might, you never know. But it's something that can massively help, on the day-to-day, which I think is super, super important. As I said, this is how we step out, every single day.
Carolyn?
And then we have the science behind actual, because it's not just, it's actually something that works. There is science behind it. So every single emotion that you have is a response to an external stimulus. So, well, not always external. It can be a thought, it can be a memory. But again, all of that comes originally from something external, a taste, a sight, something you feel if you feel something that doesn't feel comfortable or something like that. So basically, and it can be an email, it can be you read an email or someone looked at you funny, in the road. I'll give you the example. When we went to the airport in Denmark, we don't wear masks. Suddenly at the airport, we had to wear masks and everyone was wearing masks and the airport was like really eerily empty. And the people who were there were wearing masks and we were all keeping our distance. And it just felt awkward. It felt weird in my body. That was my natural reaction to it until I got used to it. And then it became a new normal, which is a whole other conversation. But that automatically, that awkwardness, that I felt, that would have released stress hormones in my body. Even if I was relaxed and calm and fine, it would have released stress hormones. Okay. Now, what this happens is that when you have, so this feeling of, let's say, awkwardness that I was feeling, or weirdness, or unusual, something different, your ancestral self would have left the cave and like, well, okay, something different's happening here. Does that mean it's not safe, or, is there a dangerous new animal or something like that? That's where it comes from. I could rationalize it and say, yeah, it's corona, we have to wear masks, these are just normal people, this is how it is. But because it was unusual, that, you know, animal instinct, and remember 95% is subconscious, that would have somehow created some kind of stress signal in my body because it was a new experience. Even if it's a pleasurable new experience, your antenna are kind of up, you know, and aware a bit more. And so these chemicals then, so you can have an emotion, which is awkwardness, something new here, sends a chemical response in the brain, so stress hormones, or on the other side, you know, relaxation hormones. And this brings you up and down all day long. You know, let's say I got to the airport and then suddenly it was my new normal, it was fine. Then on the airplane, it was weird again because we had to like have new ways of boarding and unboarding, and, you know, then it would be something else, then it would be fine again. Then when we got on the bus, you know, we had to leave gaps, all these different experiences. Or it can be, again, an email, someone you've seen, anything like that throughout the day, okay? So you're constantly going, here's your nervous system, you're constantly going up and down, which is normal. You want to be to a certain extent. Problem is for us in our modern lives, often we're going way more up and down than we want to be, okay? Now, the problem is that because we're constantly in this, in our modern lives, we're generally, you know, going into the stress response a lot more. You have all this cortisol and adrenaline kind of in your body. And normally, you would have had that, let's say if you left your cave in ancestral times and you saw a dangerous animal, you would have either been eaten or run away from it and survived, let's say. Okay, then you would have like, whew, you'd be huffing and puffing, and that adrenaline and cortisol would have worked its way out of your body because you would have used it. It was released to keep you alive. You would have used it by running away. You huff and puff and everything, and you're fine. Okay, but if it's because it's an email, or you're just walking through the airport and everyone's got masks on and it's weird, or someone looks at you funny, okay, or something like that, and you're not running it off, it's not coming out of your body, you know, you may relax a little bit, but then the next little thing is going to keep doing this. You can imagine your cells are like, they're buzzing, they're waiting for you to, when is that emergency going to be over? You know, you're going to run away from that tiger or a bus coming towards you or whatever it is. But because we don't, you can imagine your cells being all jittery. And then in the long term, when we have this and your cells are in this state of, hang on, I thought there was an emergency, but nothing's coming. Like, am I still in an emergency state? An hour later, a day later, a week later? Okay. This is where you can start developing more feelings of irritability and restlessness, and then, you know, anxious feelings and all of that. And of course, when we are in that constant state of, you know, fight or flight, then it affects your libido, your fertility, your clarity, your focus, your motivation. It affects your sleep, okay, and your emotions negatively. So we went through that one. So I'm going to talk more about specifically how you can use these oils. So the first one is aromatically. So Charlotte, you know, rubbed her hands together, smelt the oil, and, you know, smelling it from the bottle, and you can put it in a diffuser. Honestly, everybody needs a diffuser, and you just put it in there. And so you can basically, when you put them in the diffuser, or even if you just smell them, you're helping to either create. So if you wake up in the morning, you put specific oils on, you're helping to create the mood that you want that day, okay? Or if you're in a moment of feeling anxious or stressful, then you can use them in the moment to help shift your emotions. So you see what I'm talking about here is you can use them to create what you want, actively create, or you can also use them when you are in a situation to help shift it for you, okay? Now, the interesting thing is when you breathe like this, it stimulates what is called the vagus nerve, which is a massive long nerve that goes through your whole torso, kind of intertwining, you know, affects all of your different organs and up the spine. Now, when you stimulate the vagus nerve, and all it takes is 5 deep breaths, okay? This acts as a brake on your stress response. The vagus nerve goes, you know, between the gut and the brain, and it actively switches off that stress response and cycle. So this is why they say take deep breaths, you know, when you're feeling stressed, because it actually, it's not just to give you time to slow down. It's because it's specifically stimulating the vagus nerve, which then puts a brake on the stress response. So it's science, you know, it's not just take some deep breaths and it'll be fine, which I always thought until I learned this. Okay, so now I'm going to talk about a bit more. We've already spoken about peppermint, on guard, and lavender. And I'm really talking here about the top 10 oils. 2 reasons. One, because we have so many oils, like, I don't know, there must be about 80 different oils or something and blends. So we'd be here forever. And also because these are considered to be the top 10 oils, which you could use literally for everything, for any kind of, you know, 80% of the physical things that can come up in a home, for green cleaning your home, for literally everything. And then of course you've got this whole emotional side to them as well. So lemon, here you've got all of the physical and other uses, and I'm going to be just verbally telling you about the emotional side. Lemon, you can imagine, again, is very fresh, like peppermint, so it's going to be uplifting, it's going to be joyful. Anything that comes from citrus fruit is going to be uplifting and joyful in that way. You know, they're abundant and they're on the trees. You can imagine being in Spain or whatever, and you've got all these, or Sicily, and you've got all these growing. And that's what it gives. That's the feelings it gives. It gives, you know, uplifting, happy, joyful feelings. So I actually diffuse citrus oils every single day in my house. In the morning, I put citrus oils on. Then we have frankincense, which is one of my absolute favorites. Now, frankincense is amazing for cellular health, but it's amazing for everything. You know, it comes from a tree. So the frankincense tree grows in Somalia, where it's really, really dry. And this tree still grows. And if you imagine, and it looks really wrinkly. It's a beautiful bark. But if you can imagine all of the trees, they also, you know, underneath they've got a whole life, you know, all of the roots connect to each other. They're all, it's a massive network. It's not just one tree. It's connecting to all of the plants, all of the water resources under the ground and the nutrients and all of this. There's a massive load of communication going on. And also trees take a long time to grow. They take years to grow. So every oil that comes from a tree, you know, just like I said, the citrus are uplifting and light, from a tree is very, there's a lot of wisdom and groundedness to it. You know, no matter what happens to a tree, it's still going to grow. It might grow wonky. We all grow a little bit wonky, but the tree is still there. It's still solid, right? And so I actually pop a drop of this directly under my tongue every morning. And I notice a massive difference by, like, there you go, Charlotte's demonstrating. It's strong, yeah. Woo! And you want to make sure you're only putting one drop, otherwise you'll be like, ah! But it's incredible the difference it makes to that, yeah, to those anxious, stressful feelings, to be able to cope with the day. It's also called the king of oils. It's a really powerful oil. You can use it for pretty much everything. You can put it on your third eye for meditation or anything like that as well. Yeah, it's one of the most expensive oils, and it's most people's desert island oil. If they could take one, they would take this one. Then we have breathe, which is called air in Europe, or e-air if you're in Australia. Now this one, you know, obviously breathe air, it's for everything to do with the respiratory system. But when we talk about the emotional side here, and it's a blend, okay, it's got different oils in it. We're talking about everything to do with, you know, panic attacks, serious anxious issues, anything like that. When you smell it, the reason it's good for both the emotional side and the respiratory is that when you smell it, it immediately tells your lungs, open up. Okay, you can't help but when you smell it, it's so fresh to open up your lungs. What happens when you take a deep breath, you're automatically oxygenating. So again, it's science-based, okay? Oxygenating. You smell, you take a deeper breath, you've got more oxygen flowing. What happens when you've got more oxygen flowing is it's going to help to slow down your breathing, because also when you take that deep breath in, you're going to have to sort of release it, and then automatically it's going to help you find a more natural pattern to your breathing, right? And when you're oxygenating, oxygen is good for the brain. It tells your brain you are safe, you can relax. So it's automatically going to help you to feel calmer and reach, a calmer state more easily. Okay, I love that. Just, it's literally, it's all science. The science of emotions. Yeah, so that's a great one to have. You know, I actually put that one on my chest. Be careful, it does have citrus in it. But especially in the winter, like if I know I've got a busy day ahead and I don't normally do busy, I'll put a drop on my chest already to help prepare for feelings of overwhelm that habitually I know would come on such a day. Okay, because this is the thing, like I said at the very beginning with these oils, is you start to recognize your own patterns much more, because you're reaching for an oil every time. You're like, oh wow, this happened before, this helped me before, so now I'm going to use it preemptively. And you use it beforehand, before I start getting that stress. And then you can make what is called a t-shirt tent, and just, you know, put your nose in and take deep breaths whenever you need to, secretly, you know. All right, then we have one called Digestzen in the US. It's called Zengest. I like to call it Zen for digestion in Europe. Now this one, obviously, everything to do with the digestive system physically, but emotionally, to digest your emotions, to digest experiences. For everything that's going on in the world right now, this is an amazing one to use, okay? Digest emotions, digest feelings, an abundance of feeling, kinds of feelings. Digest the different situation. We often talk about gut feelings, or feeling, butterflies, or you feel a bit sick in your gut when you have sadness or anxiety, anxious feelings or anything like that. And this is because our emotions get clogged, in the body. Your digestion shuts down when you're in the state of fight or flight, because you have anxious feelings or something. Then your digestion shuts down. Then of course you're going to be feeling awkward in your body. So it'll work on both ways. When your digestion shuts down, this is the eating psychologist in me that comes out. It's like a traffic jam in there. And when there's a traffic jam, guess what? The messages are not going to go from your gut to your brain like they're supposed to. Okay. So all those happy feelings, the serotonin, 90% of it is created in your gut. That's not going to be going to your brain. And the serotonin is what you need for relaxed, calm feelings. Okay. So there is a direct connection, between the gut and the brain. So your emotions and the heart as well. There are actually more messages that go from the gut to the heart than the other way around. And this has been, this is new science within the last 5 years or so. So use it to digest anything. I'll give you a very nice example. When we get back from France, so we're here for 5 weeks, we're picking up a puppy 2 days after we get back. And obviously that will be a massive transition, not just the trip home, like we have to drive for 2 hours to go and get it. But it'll be leaving its mum and its brothers and sisters and coming home. So I'll be using Zengest, maybe just on me or something, somewhere where the puppy can smell it, to help digest and support that transition. Okay, so obviously you can do that for humans too. So all of us, we're all going through a transition, whether we want to or not right now. The entire world is being forced into a state of transition. So those are really the top 10. So what I think we should do now, you know what, I'm going to talk about the 3 ways that you buy oils, and then we'll go to the questions. I think we'll do it that way. Is that all right, Charlotte? Okay.
If that's what is best for you. Yeah, I've been writing down your questions, everyone. So don't worry. Carolyn's on a roll here. Let her do her thing, and then we'll have space for questions. So also, if you have any questions, write them in the chat box now, about the oils or about anything that Carolyn said or about what she's about to say, so that in that space we can then answer them. Okay? Cool.
Perfect. Sounds good. All right. So this is always the most interesting questions by the time, people have learnt about this and how amazing it is. So there are 3 ways to buy the oils. The first one is retail, which is full price. It's the most expensive way to buy. The only time you would do that is if, I don't know, you went to a chiropractor and he was selling you an oil for, back tension or something. So no one ever really buys this way because it's the most expensive. Second way is with a wholesale account. So this is where you buy the wholesale membership. It gives you 25% off for a whole year. It is not automatically renewed, so you don't have to worry about that. It's just like a regular membership. And this gives you access to all of the products at the best prices, okay? At the biggest reduction at 25% off. There's no obligation to buy. You don't ever have to buy again if you don't want to, but if you do, that 25% will be automatic. And the third way to buy, which is how I and Charlotte and many others here bought our oils, is with, it's basically lower than wholesale. So what this means is that when you start with a starter kit, which I'll show you in a minute, you get lower than 25% off, just like in any shop. If you went to buy, you get 3 for the price of 2 and things like that. Okay. If you're going to buy each oil individually, it would come out to more than 25% more expensive than if you bought a starter kit. And it says here again, like you can earn points back. That's something we would talk to you later as a next step once you do have your oils. So that would be like the option 2. It will give you a membership for a whole year. It just means that you've bought your starter kit at a greatly reduced price. So the most popular starter kit, and the one that I've basically introduced you here today, as I explained, for 2 reasons. One, because you have an oil there for every system of the body, green cleaning and skin, digestion, like literally everything. And you've got it to cover pretty much the whole emotional range that can come up for us. So this one is called the Home Essentials Kit. So it comes with the top 10 oils and a diffuser. This diffuser here called the petal, which you would put water in, and the drops of oil. And then here's the prices and so many differences. So we've got the first one in Danish kroner, 2,100 Danish kroner, including VAT. And the second one in pounds, 239, including VAT. Euros, 270 euros, including VAT. And rand for South Africa, 4,495. And with this, you have access to our exclusive customer oils community, where me and sometimes some of the others will do ongoing education on different topics. So we'll go in depth on, you know, all the main different topics like nutrition and supplements, hormones, you know, kids, skin, all that kind of thing. And you can ask all your questions in there. Loads of super experienced people in there. So anything that you ask, there'll always be someone who can answer it. And then if you think, no, I just really specifically want to work on emotions, we do have this emotions kit called Essential Aromatics Diffused. And it has these 6 oils in a smaller version though. The last kit I showed you, they're this size, 15 milliliter. This kit, they'll be 5 milliliter. And in here you have blends like motivate, cheer, passion, forgive, console, and peace. So honestly, there's no easier way to use them for emotional aromatherapy than literally reading the label. And the label will tell you what it is it does according to your needs. So what I'd like to ask you to do now is to message, if you don't have your oils yet, message whoever invited you to this webinar and tell them you would like to buy oils, okay? And if you can remember, you know, if you know that you want to buy a kit, tell them you want to buy a kit, and otherwise tell them I need help, you know, making a tailor-made order or something like that. So do that now, and we'll pop over to Charlotte, to the questions. I just want to tell you, I'm not going to go into it now, just because of my internet connection. I wasn't sure it was going to last long enough. We can also help you if you are someone who wants to use the oils. You think, wow, I love these. There's basically 3 types of people who use the oils. Those who want to use them just with their family and themselves, which is perfect. This is the aim that we want for every family in the world. Second type of person, you use them and you love them. You're like, whoa, okay, my mum would love this. My sister, my best friend would love this. Oh, I know a mum at school who would love this. And you just want to share the oils, maybe get your own oils paid for every month if you want to start, you know, stocking up and using the supplements. And then the third type of person wants to actually teach classes like this. If you want any help with any of that kind of stuff, you know, we're here to help you. So just reach out again to whoever your contact is, and we can help you do that. But for now, Charlotte, should I just do stop share?
Yeah.
Here we go. Yeah.
Thank you, Carolyn.
Pleasure.
That's lovely. Oh, the way you explain it is so articulate, and like I learn something each time. I'm the kind of person that believes, knows, like is really intuitively drawn to oils. That's how I work, but I really appreciate that sometimes some of you guys watching will need to know, how does it work and what nerve does it go is affected. And yeah, the homeostasis thing came up. Samantha asked, can you explain a bit more about that? What is homeostasis was her question. And you did talk about the ups and downs of life, and that the oils help to kind of keep that balance. So can you explain a little bit more about homeostasis for her?
Yes. So homeostasis is that, you know, the balance. So we always want to come back into balance. When we have stress, we want to bring the body back to a balanced state, okay? Otherwise, we're going to be constantly in a state of stress, and the body can't sustain that because it shuts down digestion. You know, it shuts down, you basically just have the blood going to your limbs so you can run away, your eyes dilating and all of this. So you cannot live in a permanent state of stress, okay? Your muscles you'll just get really bad muscle tension and pain and things like that. And so basically, as soon as when you use the oils, the more often you can use them throughout the day. And let me know if this is not answering your question, by the way. Was it Samantha who asked?
Yeah.
So basically, the more often you can use the oils throughout the day, the more often, if we're up here, most of us are not in a state of homeostasis. We're in a state of stress, somewhat greater, somewhat lower over here, but constant, and it can be constant underlying stress. Let's say you even have shoulder tension or shoulder pain. Okay, even if you kind of ignore it, but you've had it for a long time, that's also going to put your body in a state of stress. Okay, so you're going to, many of us have just underlying stress. So every time you can smell an oil, okay, let's say you're smelling lavender, it sends your brain the message with the linalool in the lavender, which is the chemical constituent in it, natural, organic constituent. It sends your brain the message that you are safe, that you can relax. It literally relaxes the nervous system. And this is what they've tested. You know, this is how they know lavender is relaxing. It's not just because this smells nice, I feel relaxed when I smell it. No, because they know they can break down the plants, as science does. It breaks down everything, and it knows what elements are in there. You know, this is how we know foods are carbs or protein, or how much a food has in there, because scientists break it down. Same with plant materials. They break down the lavender and say, what chemical constituents are in here? What are the benefits? What are the benefits? I can't think of a better word of benefits right now. What is the effect of the chemical constituents in here? And linalool, we know, relaxes the nervous system, because this is what science has found. And so this is why when you're smelling the lavender, it's not just the lavender, it's the linalool in the lavender that relaxes the nervous system. So the more often during the day we can use the oils, the more we're bringing it back to this homeostasis. Samantha, does that answer your question? You can pop a message. Charlotte, we can carry on anyway whilst we're waiting, because sometimes
let us know if there's anything else.
That
links in. Oh, she says yes, thank you.
Okay,
Awesome.
yeah, cool, good.
Okay, that kind of links when you talk about the nervous system, relaxing it using linalool, using lavender. But Yarlini had a question about, in general, how do we support the nervous system? Which I think is when you were talking about Zengest. Now, what would you recommend for that? I mean, Louise put about the supplements, taking them regularly, and I thought that was quite, yeah, that felt right. Kabiba. You said lavender is really good for the nervous system. What would you recommend for someone that wanted to support their nervous system better?
Yeah, so lavender, great idea, and the frankincense, a drop under the tongue. Honestly, you don't have to put it under your tongue if you don't like it. You can put a drop in water, or you can literally just put it on your body, you know, on the back of your neck here, the brainstem. You've got, you know, your spine, and you've got the brainstem here. Whatever you're putting at the top of the brainstem obviously is closer to the brain, so it makes sense for focus, for moods and things like that. You can put it anywhere, you know, if you feel that you want to put it here in your, you know, the inside of the elbow, you can put it there. It doesn't really matter. So yeah, definitely frankincense. And then, as Louise said, when we're looking at things outside of this kit, for people who already have their oils, that's a whole other conversation. And actually, I've done trainings on that. I did one last week on the nutrition side. Absolutely, the vitamin pack gives you the foundation for everything. When you have the right amount of minerals, you know, your nutritional foundation in the body, your body is then, you can imagine your cells are always scrambling. They're not scrambling. Okay, if you don't give your body exactly what it needs, your cells are going to be scrambling to find what they can, the bits that they need. Okay, kind of like scavenging. But if you give it what it needs, then it doesn't need to do that. They can just function as they're supposed to. And basically, again, in our modern lives, it can be difficult to do that. This is why supplementing gives you a really good basis from which everything else then works better. Yeah. It's like, I don't know, putting your running shoes on, you're going to run better rather than wearing flip-flops. You can run in flip-flops, sure. It's just going to be harder. You're going to have to grip your toes in. You're going to have to, you know, try and walk a little bit differently, and, you know, your arms are going to have to compensate. Same thing. same but different.
Makes so much sense. And then I heard that, I think it was someone that had recently done the doTERRA essential oil certification course, and she was saying that on that course they learned that an apple in the 50s was one a day. Now you need to have, I think, don't quote me, but like 100 apples in a day to have. Oh
wow, I've heard that it was like 1 orange today to 8 before, but wow, okay, I wouldn't be surprised.
What doTERRA's been, so
wow.
Even the health, if you think you're eating really healthy organic food, like, still it's the soil, the vitamins, the minerals you're getting from them. What is the quality like? So that's why supplements will help with the nervous system, I guess. But any other oils that you'd recommend apart from lavender and frankincense?
Lots. I mean, I think, see that on a personal basis. So once you guys have your kit and you have your oils, you have what is called a wellness consult with the person who's introduced you to doTERRA, and then you can go through all of that because there's just so many different options that then, you know, you get overwhelmed where to even start in the first place. So have a one-on-one and see what to do with that. And I've actually done a training in our private customer group on, so I think was it Yalini who asked about this?
Yeah.
So do a search in there in the units on the continued education. I did one on stress and emotions, so you can find it all in there as well.
That's the thing, guys, like once you become a member, when you get your own oils, not only do you have a wellness box delivered to you every month, which you can customize, but you have access to so much training and information in a private group. So you'll there's many benefits to taking charge of your life and bringing these into your world. We have another question about pregnancy, because we've got Tara on here, Tara Andrews, who works with ladies who are pregnant, and she first asked about frankincense when we talked about dropping it under the tongue. Is that safe for women who are pregnant? And any other tips about where she could go for resources to support her and her business?
Yeah. So Tara, are you already in our customer group? You can just nod if you want.
Sorry, what did you just say?
Are you already in our customer group?
Yeah.
The private audience. Okay, so there's a whole unit in there. If you look in the unit section on your computer, for pregnancy.
Lovely.
So there's some documentation in there, and also the essential midwife, who will have lots of information.
Oh,
but
great.
Yes, what you want to do, the general rule. I mean, I met one of the I know both authors actually of the pregnancy books. One of them has been doing this research for many years, and generally what they say, for example, for me, I don't want to use that example. I don't want to tempt fate. I'm not trying to have a kid at all. But if it's someone who had been used to using oils for a while, then they would likely carry on. They might start thinking, okay, I feel a bit awkward when I take that one, so I'm not going to take it. But if it's someone who's brand new to oils, then I wouldn't tell them to put frankincense under their tongue. Unless they're super used to natural things and they're feeling it and they're like, okay, I want to do this, then fine. But otherwise I would have them maybe just make up, either just put it in a diffuser, or make up a belly rub, with their oil, and maybe put some frankincense in that, because it's amazing for the skin as well, for cellular health, so for stretch marks and that kind of thing. So you basically just want to go easy with it. Yeah. So check out that unit. So they are safe. This is the great thing. They're safe for pregnancy. They're safe for babies. When you have any kind of medication, it comes with a massive list of side effects. This doesn't come with a list of side effects, but we still need to treat them with respect, because they are powerful, and they are strong. So yes, if someone's brand new, I would just stick to topical and diffused, and then see how they're feeling. Maybe just lemon in their water, to help support the liver and the digestion, which struggles a bit more when people are pregnant.
And obviously you wouldn't be using clary sage, you wouldn't be suggesting clary sage until the time of labour. That's what I used with my birth, and all I used. I had no pain relief. It was just clary sage oil, and it was so powerful. So you probably know all about that anyway, but the way that doTERRA works is that what we're doing is we're just opening the door to a healthier way of living, and walking a new customer into lots of resources. So we go to have a look at this, and then they can feel into, with the knowledge they've got and their intuition together combined, this feels right for my body, because everyone's different. So apart from the obvious clary sage that can induce labour, when they start to research themselves, they'll feel a lot more empowered, making decisions from that place of knowledge and wisdom. Does that make sense?
Yeah, definitely. There are a few that I recommend, like lemon, because I say for focus that would be great during labour. But obviously you need to use it during pregnancy, because there's no point in using an oil during labour, because you need to use it during that pregnancy period as well.
It depends. I mean, look in the units, because there's a lot of information there. There's actually a book as well on pregnancy, with the whole thing and per trimester and all of that. But the good thing about oils is, okay, it's beneficial if you would have used it for a while, but whenever you start using them is fine. So for example, if you're having a home birth and the midwife brings essential oils, that would still be amazing, even if they've never used them before.
Thank you.
Thank you, darling. That was a good
question.
Anything
specific on the emotional side that I missed? Just looking here. Charlotte, did you see anything?
What was the question?
No, have I answered everything, or is there anything that I've missed on the emotional once I was doing the webinar?
I don't.
Were there any questions that I've missed that I haven't answered?
There was one question from Marlene right at the beginning. She's just she wanted to know how many drops were in a 5 ml bottle.
Okay, 85, I believe, and 250 in the big one. Yeah, very precise.
And the vials are great, aren't they? If you've got your own oils and you think, I have a friend or someone that could really benefit. So this is basil I'm getting to someone, and I'm giving out some samples after today. So yeah, it's great to get your hands on some little vials, because these oils are really magical gifts for friends and family and people in your community, clients and things that might be having a tough time. So this is a really challenging time, isn't it? Oh, I love that. That is
just to have
the best invention.
Yeah, I just always had it in my handbag. So should we never leave home without them. So is everyone here clear to send back a message to whoever invited you to this webinar, to ask your questions? If you don't have oils, to see how you can get your first kit, and for those of you who have them, to go through the wellness consult or look in the Facebook group to make sure that you can create a plan and stuff. And this is the thing, like once you buy your oils, you have access to a community and to us for all of that. Good.
It was lovely. Thank you so much, Carolyn, for your time and your expertise. And I know you're on your holiday now. And the great thing about this business is that you can do this anywhere, anytime you like, and you can be flexible and you choose. And that's really empowering. So yeah, thank you for your time. And I hope you all enjoyed it today. Got lots out of it. Yeah.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah, so thank you for inviting people, and go and keep your journey, keep going on your journey of learning and sharing and spreading that love, because that's what we're here to do, to heal ourselves and others. Yeah, awesome.
Perfect. All right, bye guys.
Thank you, Caroline. That was really good. Thank you.
Thank you, Caroline.
Bye.
Thanks, everyone. Bye.
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 Bye.